Good afternoon, YouTube. It is me, Desiree, aka Mom on Purpose. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have missed you guys so much. I am really considering uploading a video every week rather than every other week because it seems like it's so long before I get to talk to you guys again. So thank you for joining me. Our topic today is going to be facing the fears of parenthood. I know that is something that I struggled with being a first-time mom, and I'm sure all of you guys have struggled with at some point, just the different fears that rise up. Are you going to be able to take care of them? Are you going to be able to protect them? Things like that. So first, what I want to get into is I want to really discuss the definition of fear. What is fear? There are a lot of different acronyms out there. It is false evidence appearing real. There's something that says face everything and rise. There's another one that says forget everything and run. Essentially what fear is it's a feeling that you get when you imagine the consequences or the results of something. So people that are afraid of spiders, they are afraid of spiders not because of the animal themselves, but because they fear getting bitten by spiders. And so sometimes we have those type of fears ourselves as parents. The other thing that fear is it's really the exact opposite of faith, but it's the same muscle working, just working in a different direction. We know that faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things unseen. And fear is a similar thing because it is still operating with things that are unseen and evidence that is not real, but it's another feeling that we get. And so I want to talk about how I encouraged myself through the fears that I had as being a parent and how I would tell you guys to encourage yourselves. So the main thing that I did when it came to my different fears as a mom is I chose to focus on the promises of God rather than focus on the fears of the inadequacies that I had within myself. So I've written down a few things because I did not want to forget. So the first fear that I had, and I'm sure most people have, I have the top 10 that I had. So the first one was that I'm ill-equipped. Because this was my first child. And even though I've worked in daycare for 5 years and I've babysat countless numbers of times and I hold everybody baby during church, did I have what it took to raise a child 24/7, all day, every day, be a mom? Did I have the patience? Did I have the type of commitment? And I looked at myself and how I really had struggled with commitment throughout my life. With jobs, if I didn't like it, I would quit. With all sorts of things. And you can't just quit being a mother. You can't be like, oh goodness, you're getting on my nerves, so I quit. So I was afraid that I would not have the commitment capacity to be a mother. I was also afraid that I wouldn't have the patience to be a mom. You try to teach your child one thing and they look at you like, what are you talking about? And it takes time and time again for them to learn these things, to learn to be independent, to learn to, not cry over every little thing. And so I was like, patience is not my strong suit. It is a virtue, but the Lord is still working on me on that area. So I didn't think I had the patience. I said, I don't have the equipment to be a mom. And that was something that I feared. Another thing is that I feared that somehow I would hurt my child, not harm him, but that he would roll off the bed or off the couch. Or I remember the very first time that I was terrified, and I'm sure another mother has the same testimony, to cut his fingernails. He was like a couple weeks old, and for whatever reason he already had long fingernails, and I was literally frozen with fear because I did not want to cut him too short and he be in pain. So I made my mom do it, and she ended up doing the exact thing that I was like, no. So she pinched his skin and he screamed at the top of his lungs, and I was like, no, this was my greatest fear. And so I was like, you can't really avoid those things. Those things are going to happen. And so I was afraid that as his mom, I would be the one that hurt him. I was afraid that I would mess him up. there are a lot of things within myself that are not perfect. Things that I'm still working on and God is still working with me on. And I didn't want him to see those things and that I would mess him up. I would steer him away from Christ in some way, or I would not, give him everything that he needs to be successful and independent and to reach his full potential. And so I was afraid that somehow he would see me doing something that's imperfect. He would see one of my flaws and he would pick up on that. And then finally, not finally, I have two more actually. I'm inadequate. That kind of goes back up to I'm ill-equipped. I'm inadequate is something that I've struggled with in multiple areas of my life. Not just being a mom, but being a wife, speaking to you guys on YouTube. I was like, why would they listen to me? I'm a new mom. My baby is literally 4 months old. Why would they listen to anything that I have to say? And with him, I was feeling the same way. I'm inadequate. Like, why would he even take me seriously? Like, why would he take me seriously as a mother? And just a lot of the different beliefs that I had in being a parent dealt with like being the perfect role model, and I knew that I really couldn't be that for him. And then number 5 was I don't know what I'm doing. Different decisions have to be made on his behalf, and I've never made these decisions before. I knew that I wanted to breastfeed, but I did not know what all that took. I did not know, that the first couple of days your milk might not come in, and then you have to wait until it does come in, and all those things. I didn't know. I still don't know about vaccinations, but I'm like, sure, give them to them. Like, there are plenty of things that I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just winging it on prayer and praying that it doesn't harm him in the end. But there are plenty of areas that I don't know what I'm doing. And so those first 5 had a lot to do with me. And how I felt about myself. And so what I chose to believe, rather than believe all those things, even though all those things are true, I am ill-equipped and inadequate. I chose to believe the promise of God, which says that he and his strength is made perfect in all of my weaknesses. So everywhere that I fall short as a parent, he is filling in the gap for me. And where I am weak, he is strong. Where I am imperfect, he is perfect. And so he is the perfect co-parent. So all I did was, when I had my son, I gave him back over to the Lord, because he is the perfect role model. He is the one that's going to heal him if he needs, if something does harm or hurt him. And he's the one that's going to protect him from danger seen and unseen. So I chose to rely on him and his perfections rather than to rely on myself. So the next 5 are things that I feared, kind of situational things. I feared him getting sick. That is my biggest, one of my biggest fears was him just getting sick, because I don't know what to take when people get sick. When I get sick, I take Tylenol. I don't care what the illness is. I take Tylenol. So I'm like, if he gets sick, I don't want to overdose him on medicine, but then what medicine does he take? All those things. I feared him getting sick. I fear that he will act up, that as he grows and gets older, that he will misbehave, that he will be a problem child, that he will be an outcast in society for bad behavior. I have a big fear of that, that he would be sneaky, that he just would, all those things were a fear of mine, because the last thing you want to do as a parent is raise a child that doesn't contribute positively to society. And so that was one of my fears. And then discipline is not really my area of expertise, because I don't know really how he's so cute, and then how do you really spank him, So I feared that. I feared that he would get bullied. We know the society that we live in. People that are different often get bullied. What if he's not the most popular guy in school? What if he likes to play piano? Not that that's, bad, but, and sit over in a corner by himself, and what if he gets bullied for that? Things like that made me afraid. But then the opposite thing made me afraid as well. What if he becomes the bully? What if he is insensitive and mean? I don't want to raise a child like that as well. And then finally, to sum all of those things up, what if he's not equipped for life? What if he spends 18 years in my home and goes out into the world and is like, you did not prepare me for any of this. That was another fear that I had, because then I feel like I would have failed as a mom if I don't equip him for life. And so I took all of those things, all of those what ifs, and I remembered that scripture says that if you train up a child in the way he should go, when he's older, he will not depart from that. And so all I can do is in this moment instill in him the best things that I know. And when he's older, even if he does fall short, even if he does stray away, in his departure, he will always come back to the very things that I taught him as a parent. So that's what I chose to believe. My very final one is like number 11, because I could not end this video without talking to you guys about it. And it's my biggest fear. I am still struggling with this as a mom. One of my biggest fears is that I won't be able to protect him. There's so many things going on in our world, from police brutality to black on black crime to drugs, sex, all of those things, confusion, all of those things. And I would love to be with him every moment of every day for the rest of his life. Would love it. Would sign right on up for it and would do that. However, I can't be that. I cannot be with him every moment of every day. And I fear that something will happen, when he learns to drive. He's coming home from wherever, the gas station, he gets pulled over and he becomes a hashtag. I fear those things. I fear that he will make the wrong friends, and even though he's not involved in crime, he'll be in the car with somebody that might have drugs and end up behind bars and be a statistic. Those are things that I fear, because those are the things that I've seen go on around me. And so as a mother, while it's your greatest joy to birth a beautiful baby black boy that's going to grow into this beautiful, wonderful black man, all the things that go with that. And so you're still kind of afraid for him at the same time. And so there are a few scriptures that I want to give you guys that I have been meditating on myself. Of course, we all know that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. So that's something that I hold on to, is because the fear that I have is not of the Lord. Faith is of the Lord. And I have to trust in him that even though I may fall short of being able to protect him, he's going to protect my son. He gave me this blessing. He's going to protect this child while he's on the earth. And ultimately, whatever happens to Dominic is his will, because all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. And so I know that it's going to work out for his good in the end. The final thing, or the final scripture, is Psalms 56:3. It says, "When I am afraid, I trust in you." And so when you are paralyzed by fear, which I've been before, when you can't see the light because you are so afraid to walk towards it, you choose to hide in darkness because that's what you're familiar with. When you're in those moments, I want you to remember to trust in him, because he is perfect when you are not. He knows our future. He knows everything about our past. He knows our flaws and our imperfection. He's all knowing. And so trust in him, because he has this whole thing figured out. And all you have to do is trust in him. That'll alleviate those fears. It's not something that you wake up one morning and you're not afraid of anything. It doesn't happen that way. But if you just hold on to his hand, he will guide you through those things. And reach out to your community as well. That's what Mom on Purpose is here for. I ask you to reach out to me. Comment below. Email me. Write me on Facebook. Reach out to your other MVPs, Mothers with Vision and Purpose. Reach out to each other. It's not supposed to be a one-way street. I'm not just talking to you guys. Reach out to me. Talk to me as well, because we all are going through a similar journey. And so don't close yourself off in fear. Open yourself up, because we can encourage you. We can give you the promises of God for you to stand on. And so that's really all I have concerning the fear that comes with being a parent.